retard, retard, retard.
So, welcome back. Right, so let me see. So, well, it's taking a long time to load now. There we go. Ha! Found it. Cool. So we're going to go split liveries. Croatia Airlines. There we go. Oh, bloody hell! That's. I need to dial down the sound of that. I'm not kidding. That go around song. I heard nothing else apart from that song. That is scary loud. No, I don't think so, MCK. Let's do a nice daytime flight here. We do want to see a bit from the scenery. So let's park here. Set this departure. Let's see. Let's keep it this way, no. Because I know people will be memeing me just for that. You want to make that with the jingle? Hang on. Let me see what it is. Oh, no, you do not. No. MCK, no, forget it. No way. No, that is not approved. No, no, no. No, I don't want the rickroll as a command. No. Right, so let's see. System powering up. Yeah, you were really close again. I can confirm. Let me just have a look here quickly. Hold on. Alrighty. So, cool. Let's go start Sim Toolkit Pro, and then we'll get going. Flight planning, load, and fly now. Hold on. So there's YPC. There we go. Right, so now we've got a working EFB. Now, I don't want to touch the top bar again because I have a feeling that kills the EFB for some reason. Because I've done it twice now. Dismiss. What time is it here in a sim? It is 16:04, so we'll depart 16:30, and we're going to do a little bit faster preparations this time. There we go. We're going to be on VATSIM, obviously. And we filed a flight plan. No, we've not yet filed a flight plan. Let me file it quickly before I log on. So so Croatia, what are we called? 29 Delta. So please let nobody be here. Ooh. We may be lucky. We may be lucky. I think that's probably Kitman again, isn't it? Pack, hello, how you doing? Yeah, I think that's probably Kitman there. So Split Airport again is absolutely gorgeous. It's a gorgeous location, very challenging approaches. So especially the circlings, the visual circlings are always spectacular. Really lovely. I love flying here. However, today we're gonna go and fly to. Oh, is that Challenger 650? Someone joining in the in X-plane. That would be pretty cool. Lovely. Right, so departure, QNH. Huh? It says light rain, vicinity thunderstorms, and it's not doing anything here in the sim. Why is that? Yeah, it's got the same METAR. Lol. Yeah, they are. So VATSIM ADR, I can definitely recommend that too. Moritz, that's you in the Challenger. Nice. Where are you flying to? No, not that. The controls linked. That's fine. Units, good. Airframe, nav. Don't want that. That we do want, and then we save. Fantastic. Right. So we do fast preparations this time. So mass and balance, actually ground services first. Let's open the doors, connect some stairs. That's fine. And then we go fuel back 4.6. Load the aircraft fast. Fantastic. Nice. You're going to join to Mykonos. I can promise you it's an interesting approach. We're going to have a look at the weather in a second. 60.5. Heavy aircraft as well. Blimey. So let's do the init here. There we go. So init request.
Good night.
Thank you much, MCK. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, talk to you soon. So there we go. 29 Delta. Cosine, cost next 46. Really high cost indices today. We're going to go and fly to what level? Hey Oscar, how you doing? When you try start with FENIX, I get this constant beeping sound. How do I... what? Beeping sound? Have you tried closing and reopening the FENIX app again? Maybe that helps. Because that's a really weird bug. So, we're climbing 350 at minus 50. 350 at minus 50. 24 degrees here. 1013 standard. That's already set. Fantastic. And we are expecting 60.5, we said. With a fuel of 6.5. Yeah, 6.5, that's finished. 6.5, and the alternate fuel... the alternate fuel is, so for Athens, 900 kilograms. 0.9 in there. The wind data. Do I bother with... no, it's -4. I don't bother with any detailed wind info. That's good enough. Headwind 4, that's good. 20 minutes extra. Sounds about right. The weather here in Split currently supposed to be easterly winds. So we're departing towards the east, which is a nice departure. Early right turn, so that's all fine. And Mykonos, wind has died down a bit. So this afternoon we had about 25 to 30 knots of wind, which would have been really, really challenging. But even that can be a nice challenge for the landing. 25 degrees, 1009. Yeah, we are on real weather. Hey, Ali. Just not real time, because I do want to have a bit of daytime. Schnürschuh, hey, moin. Right, there we go. So when we're departing towards the east, on 05, Z-Pilot 1 Whiskey it is. Let's have a look if that makes sense. Final question, go ahead. Parking stands, airport info. So backtrack is needed for sure. Departure, Z-Pile. So that's all towards the west. And there we go. So that's the 1 Whiskey. We got to climb 5,000 feet. And its waypoint's about 500 feet, max 185 knots, right turn. We want to go to Sierra Papa 800, max 185 knots between 4 and 5.5. Then 801, 7.5 or below, actually. And then we go to Oraka. Is it really? Has the wind changed? Okay, thank you for the update. Let's check that. Hold on. Cruise flight level, I've chosen 350. No, it says 060 at 5. So I would definitely go with runway 05 still. Yeah, so early right turn, let's do that one. And 5,000 we set, so let's put 5,000 in here. And then we go in at A page, B page filled out, flight plan page 05. We'll go with the C-Pilot 1 Whiskey to C-Pilot, then flight plan route. And here we're going to have runway 34. And it's going to be via Varik. So I'm going to take the Zulu 34. And then we got 3 options there. What, in the sim, Moritz? So, I don't know where you get the weather from, but or was mine outdated? I don't think so. No, that's actual 20 UTC. So let's go Mykonos. Let's check the arrival routing. So for the arrival, Varik's arrival. So let's have a look. So the 1 hotel is an ARC that goes to Dixos. What else do we have? That's not it. So that's definitely one of the candidates, the 1 hotel. What about the Papa? Now let's take the 1 hotel. which then should take us on to the Zulu 3-4. Actually, then this is a Yankee. Yeah, Yankee, sorry. Yeah, we'll take the Yankee. And the Yankee final approach there. Okay, so there we go. So, let's quickly erase that. Oh, no worries, Maurice. Yeah, no worries. All good. Via our Yankee, the one hotel approach via Varix. Actually, no via then. Insert. Let's have a look. See if that makes sense. With the arc. So Kira, Varix, then we do the arc. Yeah, onto the final. That looks good. Just wondering about the departure route initially. That did look a bit weird. I missed something. Okay, let's have a look. So split, start. Oh, of course, yeah. No disregard. So we go from there. Went to the wrong departure route. So then we go to Sierra Papa Lima, then to 805, and then to CPAR. I mixed up two departure routes there. So CPAR, there we go. All right. So it's a nice kind of circle back to the VOR, and then we go en route. Alrighty. 5,000 feet it is. So RATNAV, let's do Sierra Papa Lima, and then performance. So oh, nice, on the Croatian. That looks really nice. Love it. Well, Christopher, I mean, so let's sync the final load sheet. 66.7. That's really heavy aircraft. 26. Oh, QNH has actually dropped now. So let's go and do that 1-1 headwind, full length. So we can do flex 62 full length, flaps 1 down 0.1, 41, 41, 44. So let's try that. I'll look at the final. $10,000 transition. Got everything right here. 10,000. That looks good. And for the engine out case, so we've got NDB 1. That's a change. It does make sense here. So we've got acceleration, sorry, thrust reductions in 1580 and and then acceleration is 3080. Engine out is 1600. Secondary copy active. And then if we do have to return, we'll do the, I think it's an ILS approach 05 into split. It's going to be a challenge though. So split, arrival, ILS Zulu 05, no star and no via. And the procedure for engine out is another special one because of the terrain as we go towards the east. So initially it's 3.5 DMEs. Okay, so 049 outbound initially, and then at 3.5 from Sierra Papa Lima. So I'm going to draw that at 3 miles, knowing I have to go just past that. So straight out. Oh, that's actually 3 miles is fairly close because Sierra Papa Lima is there. And then we go right, track 180 until we cross radial 110. So we go right, south until we cross that radial. And then we go right to Delta Victor November, which is near the final. Alright, that makes sense. Cool. Delta Victor November. Nice. Cool. Alright, that is pretty much it. DK, if I was pilot flying and I don't see a reason to go around, but the captain out of the blue calls our go around, would I perform with... Yes, of course. So DK, we have a rule saying that any crew member, so even if someone is sitting on the observer seat as a crew member, anyone calling out go around when you are below 1,000 feet height in the approach, you have to go around. Unless you're like on fire and for some reason the captain decides that the only way to save everyone on board is to land. So, you know, normal operations, anybody calls out go around below 1,000 feet, you have to go around, exactly, without hesitation. Even if you think it doesn't make sense at the moment, or maybe you can't quite comprehend what's going on, yeah, you would go around, absolutely. So, briefing, we have departure route out of 05, full length, the ZPAL 1 Whiskey, initial 5,000. The sector is initially 7.3 and then 3.7, so high terrain to the north and to the east of the airport. We have extra fuel. I think it was about 800 kilograms. Well, now it says 1.5, so I think it was about a 1 ton extra. Yeah, below 1,000 feet height. Yeah, that's our rule at least. Maybe some other airlines have different rules. Right, hotspot taxi out. We have to be careful. We're going to have to do backtrack. So before we enter the runway at Alpha for backtrack, we need to make sure the runway is clear. We'll call that on Unicom. And I don't think we have... Anybody seen any VATSIM control here? Let's check the map. Just make sure that we're not going to bust anything here. Actually, we do have Zagreb control. Is Zagreb control responsible for us? Oh, above 245. Disregard. No, so that's above 245. There we go. Okay, cool. Stop margin for RTO. I think it's a long runway, so we have more than 500 meter stop margin. Engine out. We proceed. We did the initial procedure. Acceleration is in 1,600 feet. Cleanup. We continue climb to 3,000 at least for the approach 05. And we have a long runway. So, cockpit preparation checklist. Gear pins covers are removed. Fuel quantity is 6,510 kilograms balanced. Then we've got the seat belts on, ADIRS, data, position monitor, nav, Baro ref, QNH 1012 set. Before start checklist. We're going to do a taxi out here, by the way. We don't have pushback. We'll do a engine start and go to the left for taxi out. That's pretty neat. So, park brake is set. Takeoff speeds thrusts. V1 141, VR 141, V2 142, and the flex is 62. Windows closed, both sides closed, and the beacon is on. That's the before start checklist completed. Take Captain, on your opinion and based on your experience in professional aviation world, is better a Windows laptop or an Apple one regarding compatibility with app integration? Well, Alberta, it depends, because normally if we talk airlines, then obviously the airline will give you a tablet, most likely, or laptop. We used to have laptops, and then we switched to tablets at some point. Regarding, let's say corporate, or if you do private, I would guess then tablets are better for normal apps, if you like. Takeoff weight 60.40 fuel weight, and enter those values. But yeah, maybe maybe that would be a good question for Citation Max, for example, to find out if he uses a tablet, and if yes, what sort. Because I don't know, if you do corporate or private stuff, what apps you would really use. Good. So we've done everything. Oh yeah, let's do one more engine start fault. So let's do this time let's have a look what else we have. So let's do a hot start, shall we? Yeah, let's do a hot start. Let's see how that handles it. Normally, the problem is there is different engine types that have different behaviors. So normally the far deck and the newer models would notice a quickly rising EGT, and before it gets over limit, it would actually reduce the fuel flow. So cut the fuel flow, reduce the fuel flow, and try it restart again. Do that again with then even less fuel if it still goes too hot. And then it would eventually, if it still doesn't work properly, it would then abort the approach, the start procedure. Right, so we can see it's rising, 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 and here I think it's actually going to get over limits. Look, start valve is closed. Well, that's interesting. Oh, there we go. Now that's not correct. I'm sorry, but that is not correct regarding... Yeah, I've had the issue before. So obviously that would be wrong. I'm pretty sure it didn't show the right limits either. So let me just try that again. Right, let's try that again. Start faults. Hot start. Although, let me just check that we have cleared out failures. Okay, so MX, that should be all right now, hopefully. So let's go again to start. Max uses 4-flight. Yeah, I think a lot of people use 4-flight in the corporate or private world. Nah, it's not doing it again. Or is it? Nah, it's going to do fail again, isn't it? Yeah. Let's try that. Sorry. Yeah, I've had a hit and miss on the hot start failures for some reason. Right, let's try no ignition. Let's see how that goes. Let's go 2 start. Oh, I think I've broken it now. Maintenance. Failures. Ah, there we go. That's how you clear out the failure. That's how you clear out the failure. So let's try again. Start fault. Lol. It's really bugged now. Oh my god. Let's just hope it runs. Let me try the left hot start then. Let's see if that works. Let's see if that works. Right, ignition B. Here comes the fuel. Hey Riri, how you doing? Nah, it's doing the same. It's going to do a fail again. It's not doing the hot start. It cuts off the fuel supply because it senses high EGT, but then does the fail, and that's not correct. Alright. So return maintenance. We're trying to do a hot start. Now I managed, when I practiced this this afternoon, I actually managed to do so. Right, there's no failure in here now. Right. Let's try a different failure. Let's try start fault. No ignition. Right. So engine start. Oh, come on. Seriously? Alright. I guess we're going to have to do that another time at some point. It doesn't like to do that today. That's interesting. Now it got no failures. Right, let's do a crank actually, shall we? So let's do a crank. Now we completely broke it. Oh no. Now, of course, in real life, you would have to be careful with the starter cooldown times. So different engine types have different starter cooldown times. So once you had an unsuccessful start cycle, you need to make sure that you look into your limitations section and make sure that you don't try another start attempt without having the proper cooling time for the starter. Yeah, I know. It should be 20, 300, and 60, and 300 fuel flow. So keeping fingers crossed. We haven't broken completely the FENIX now. Right, but that seems good. Engine start on 1 and 2. That's 1. That. We can get rid of all of the externals. Yeah, we're burning vodka. So they added vodka to the jet fuel, make it cheaper. So that trim about 29.0. That's about there. Fantastic. And a flight control check. Full up, full right, neutral. Yeah, exactly. So I have the update installed. I don't know exactly what was updated. Full right, full left, full right, neutral after start checklist. We have the anti-eyes off. Ecom status is checked, it's clean, and we've got the pitch trim at 29% and rudder trim neutral after start checklist completed. Let's make sure that we don't get in conflict with anybody else here. Looking good. Split traffic, creation 2. Creation 29 Delta, taxiing holding point Alpha runway 05 in split. Yeah, the departure route actually does go that way. So mind your heads. Tight turn. There we go. There's holding point Alpha. Somebody already disappeared. Somebody took off there. Yeah, you got to be careful here with jet blast and touch an apron. No joke. So we're going to taxi right here. Stop. We're already here at the holding point. Runway 0523. Parking brake set. Let's do a test here. Performance. Good. So the taxi checklist. Flag controls checked. Flap setting. Config 1+F. Radar predicted wind shear system is in up here. Engine mode selector is normal, and the economy mode takeoff no blue. That's the taxi checklist completed. Line up, backtrack. So line up checklist. We have takeoff runway. So 05 backtrack. We'll confirm that again once we have backtrack. TCAS, TARA, and the packs are on. Split traffic, creation 29 Delta, lining up backtrack runway 05 in split. Just make sure there's nobody on the other end. There's a huge incline here in the sim. Quite funny. Needs a lot of power. How's the FENIX compared to the FS Labs? Well, I mean, the FS Labs is a finished product, while a lot of things here in Microsoft Flight Sim are still not finished. So, which is a bit unfortunate, but that's just the way it is. So still some work to do. But I'm enjoying it. So, you know, in combination with the visuals, it's fun to fly. But yeah, it's still missing some of the features, and so the FS Labs is definitely a lot more matured. Landing on the numbers for shits and giggles, is that a big no? No. What do you mean? So are you referring to? Hang on, DK. See if I can follow that discussion. Oh yeah, the wizard. Are you talking about the? Was it Scathos or where was it? Yeah. So the thing is this. I did see the video and it's scary. Now, you do not do that for shits and giggles. You don't, right? This is dangerous stuff. I mean, I think they cleared some of the people there by 2 or 3 feet. They could have killed literally, a couple of people there in the approach. And if that had been the case, if somebody would have been gotten injured on that approach, it's a bit laggy here, then there would have been an investigation, and what they would have found is that the pilots were way below the path. So what does that mean? It means that normally when you fly on your normal glide slope for the ILS, you will cross the landing runway threshold at 50 feet. So assuming it's not a displaced threshold, so assuming it is a threshold like this one here, you would be 50 feet at this point. Right, 50 feet, and the 3-degree profile will then get you down exactly at the touchdown zone. So 300 meters, 1,000 feet down the runway. So they crossed the road. So let's assume the road was here or there. So they were at how many feet? 10? 15 feet? So way ahead of the threshold, 15 feet. They were way low. I don't know why they got so low. They should have gone around, or at least corrected that. But yeah, that was. I wouldn't be surprised if the authorities really go and investigate that landing, see what went wrong. Yes, Mark. In this case, I think yes. Yeah, exactly. Exactly, Alpha. Yeah, that's what I think as well. Right, let's go. So, start everything. Here we go. Take off. Love those notches. Fantastic. Man flex 62 SAS runway. Auto thrust is blue. Split traffic. Croatian 629 Deltas departing on runway 05 in split. Here's 100 knots. Checked. Love that sloping runway. V1. Rotate. There we go. Pause the fly. Gear up. 480 feet. We'll turn right. And just gonna love that that scenery, right? Right we go. Beautiful scenery. Careful with the pitch. Yeah, that's programmed a bit late, but I've seen that in the FS Labs as well. Thrust climb. Still got climb blue or the thrust. So we're not accelerating yet. Always good question. I don't know. I've not really heard much about it. Oh, yeah. And then we got climb out blue. Yeah, so we do have some speed restrictions. 185 knots until that next waypoint. And almost at 5,000 feet. So what I could do is go reduce the thrust here. Go 1, 2, manual thrust, just to level off here. Alt star. Echo Mike Foxtrot, I use the... Is it AIG? IAG? I can't remember how which way around that is.
traffic, Asterix 255 is taking off runway 05
Right.
with traffic.
So we got speed out, autopilot 1, and let's continue climb. Oops. So 350, we got out magenta, now 75. It's Alpha India, so AIG, Alpha India Group, yeah. So next waypoint, 75 below. So that's why we have out magenta right now. And it's going to do another level off. Yeah, very welcome. If you go to Echo Mike Foxtrot, if you go to flightsim.to and just Google for the AIG there, outstar speed, you should be able to find everything you need. Alrighty, so 7.5. The next one is between 5 and 110. Transition is in 10,000. Cool, excellent. Alrighty. Climb out magenta 1000. And let's do flap 0. Speed is checked. Flap 0. Now, even though green dot, of course, is a bit higher today, so I'm just going to cheat a little bit. Get selected speed to green dot. Tell ATC. Oh, those clouds, brilliant. That's something I really enjoy here in Microsoft Flight Sim as well. Really nice. So, Yebert, good question. It can be because of terrain reasons, but it can also be because of arriving traffic. So airspace structure can be a reason why you need to do that. Oh, that's brilliant. Thanks, Moritz, just departed as well. Fantastic. Yeah, unfortunately, Ebert, and unless you talk to someone like a real-world controller, set standard cross-checked, you know, who would be able to tell you the real reasons. It doesn't really say that very often in any documentation, unfortunately. Back to normal speed, so passing 115. Now checked. A bit sloppy there with the lights. Yeah, should be good on seatbelts as well. Let's recheck that 350. Fantastic. And RATNAV clear. Secondary copy active. And the fixed pages clear out as well. There we go. Cool. Flight time to Dubrovnik is about an hour 20. It's set on the flight plan, I think. Hour 15, somewhere in that region. So I can tell you a little bit about the starting process of the engines. It says an hour 30 actually. Alright, gives us some time. So first, let's have a look at some of the scenery here, obviously, since it is so beautiful. Gorgeous area around here. Kidman, no, Split. So we just departed Split, and we're going to Mykonos. Is it illegal to land outside a touchdown zone? No. No, it's not illegal to land outside the touchdown zone. However, it is illegal to endanger people's lives by flying too low. the other question is, now I will say this. The question is, the people that were standing there, were they standing there legally? Like, isn't there, you know, there may be a sign saying in case of landing traffic, cars and pedestrians, people are not allowed inside this zone or something? I've never been there, so I don't know. I can tell you though that in Helgoland, there's a runway that's right at the beach, and of course there's going to be people saying, "Oh, did I say to Dubrovnik? No, sorry, Kidman. No, Mykonos. My bad. I'm sorry." Yeah, so you know, there it has a warning light that comes on. So when people land at Helgoland and they come and pass by the beach there, it says you have to remain outside of the area there. So that's the question. You know, but if it doesn't, so let's say in Skiathos there's no sign, there's nothing there that tells people that they are not allowed to be there in case of landing traffic. So let's just say it's a warning, like, you know, careful or be aware of jet blast, but still the people are allowed to be there. Well, again, flying over those people's heads and such a low altitude. Well, the exhaust heat, well, depends on takeoff, for example. It's not that hot because it's mixed with the ambient air, and so it doesn't melt anything. Imagine if it were that hot, imagine that fence, let's say in St. Bart, that fence would have melted by now, wouldn't it? Or any you know, vegetation would have been burned. So it's not that hot. It's warm, but it's not gonna... It's not gonna kill anyone. And Cello, hey, how you doing? Right, so let me see if I can fix up the... Give you some facts about the ignition system of the engines here. So let's have a look. Right, there we go. So the CFM engines, so CFM 56 engines are equipped with 2 igniters. So we have A and B, and we already saw that from time to time. When you do engine start, you would see either A or B on an automatic start. So it cycles that with each engine start. It cycles the igniter system. So it's got 2 circuits. And the important thing is the A circuit. So the A circuit is actually connected to the AC Essential bus. Yeah, so the AC Essential bus, which is either the static inverter during rat extension, or in normal configuration, the AC Essential bus, so this one here. So either it's supplied by AC bus 1 in normal config, or if you have the rat out, the merged generator will then supply the AC Essential bus. But that's the important thing. So the A system, you need to have one working. So at least one engine has a continuous ignition available. Good. So the on-site normal AC bus supplies igniter B. So that's why B is not so important. You can actually have both B systems in op and still be dispatched with that. Oh, you're right. Yeah. So we have to call... thanks, Kipman. Yeah, you're right. That was Zagreb 35-3. Yeah, thanks for the heads up. Fantastic. 35.3. Oh, come on. Zagreb Control, good evening from Croatian 29 Delta. We're passing 250, climbing 350.
Russia 29 Delta, hello, Eurocontrol, squawk 0220.
0220, Croatian 29 Delta. Now, we may be... Well, actually, no, we are going to be in this sector for a couple of more minutes. That's fine. Good.
Russia 29 Delta identified, climb unrestricted, fly level 350.
Climb unrestricted 350. Thank you, Croatian 29 Delta. Alrighty, so what else do we have?
Eurocontrol East, good evening. Asterix 255, passing level 280.
Yeah, that's more. It's fantastic.
Crossing level 370.
Now, during a automatic start, the engine mode selector set to ignition start and the engine master switch is selected on. The FADEC, so full authority digital engine control, immediately opens the pneumatic starter shutoff. So that's the pneumatic indication on the bottom there for engine start. And it opens the low pressure fuel valve, but not the high pressure yet. So the low pressure fuel is opened. Now, ignition is energized when N2 reaches 16%. Alright, unlike IAE engines, the CFM56 FADEC does not use a normal minimum dry motoring time. So remember that in the FS Labs, for example, when we have IAE engines, there we have a 30-second dry motoring before fuel and ignition is then given. Now, when N2 reaches 22%, the FADEC then opens the high pressure fuel valve. Then within 20 seconds you should have EGT rise. Then at 50% N2 with the automatic mode, the FADEC closes the starter shutoff valve and cuts off ignition. And as we said, during an automatic start on ground, only one igniter is supplied, and the chosen igniter alternates on each successive start, so between A and B. However, both igniters are used in any other situation where ignition is selected automatically or manually. So on the first flight today, remember when we used that button up here? The manual engine start. Because let's say you have high tailwind conditions or you had igniter problems. So whenever you do that, then the both igniters are being used. The same would go for an in-flight engine start, for example. Same thing. Right, the engine mode selector must be switched back to norm position. You would do that with the after start flow. And then, if you then go back to ignition start, then you can actually get, like now, for example, I can put on ignition, so we have both ignition now firing. And you would do that, for example, when you go through heavy rain or hail or something.
Wizard 2529er, monitor Unicom 122.8, bye.
Well, 30 seconds, yeah, for the IAE, but the cooling time for the Pratt & Whitney, so for the Neos there, that's a bit different. So they have a varying cooling cycle. It can go anywhere from, let's say, 45 seconds up to a minute 30 or something. So, yeah, and of course, that dry crank is also there to straighten out the shaft of the high pressure system. So that's another different reason for that. Yeah, so as we said, during manual start sequence, in the ignition start position and the engine start to on position, both igniters are supplied as soon as the engine master switch is set to on. and they remain energized until 50% N2. So, that's a normal engine start. We've seen it many times, and we've talked about it. The normal procedure. And when the engine has successfully started and stabilized at idle, a veil is displayed on the N1 indicator. So whenever you see that here, you know that. Yeah, exactly, for the boat rotoring. Yeah, a rotor. Yeah, exactly that. Right, newer ones, new aircraft may pulse green. Successful engine relight in flight. Good. Well, okay, so now this is interesting. The FADEC, so the full authority digital engine control, will automatically abort an automatic start on the ground when N2 is below 50% in case of hot start, engine stall, hung start, no light up, so after 20 seconds, starter shutter valve fails to open, and low starter air pressure. So whenever one of those things happen, the FADEC is clever enough to abort the engine start, and depending on, you know, if fuel was already introduced, it will do an automatic crank cycle. So automatic blowout, if you like. Oh, hold on, that was me. So climb, thrust climb. There we are, back to normal. I was going to try and do that. Mark vertical speed. Yeah, so the FADEC takes care of the crank, so to blow out that residual fuel out of the engine. And then normally, depending on, you know, the system available and the software standard, it may try another engine restart automatically. And then would say auto restart in progress, or it would then command the high pressure fuel valve shut and turn off the ignition and close the start valve, and then command the pilot to put the master switch back to off. And then, like we said earlier, we would have to contact maintenance. And so on. And the manual engine start we did on the first stream. So looking back at my career, the only engine start issues I had were ignition problems. I've had, like, let's say 5 of those in my career, where the engine wouldn't start because of that. And one time I had a complete starter failure on the 737. So it was a mechanical failure. Here's AltStar. A mechanical failure of the starter unit. So the starter unit is a mechanical linked unit that works with centrifugal force to connect and disconnect. And it's supplied by high pressure air from the APU to start spinning and then get connected to the N2 shaft. And that mechanically broke. So they had to yeah, replace that complete unit.
An Airbus 320, minimum separation of 7.4 miles.
That looks quite impressive. There are some big clouds here. Look at that. But the Challenger should be able to go a bit higher, shouldn't it? Because I'm pretty much stuck at 350, because that's well, we could go 370, but that would be pushing our max recommended, so. An air turbine starter. So, I'll give you the official explanation regarding the crank mode. Alright, so
Standard 757, monitor Unicom, 122, simulate, bye-bye.
Dry cranking. Right, so a dry cranking cycle ventilates the engine to remove fuel vapors after an unsuccessful start attempt on ground. The flight crew can manually select cranking by selecting engine mode selector to crank, and then set the engine manual start push button to on. Flight crew can stop the cranking by setting the engine manual start push button switch to off. There we go. So you would put that to crank, leave that in off, and on the overhead panel here you go and push that button, and again it opens the start valve just to turn the starter and the N2. And then once you've done with the cranking, you switch off that that button again. It closes the start valve, and the N2 will spool down again. Hey Sapphire, yeah, there are thunderstorms in the area. Now we know that Microsoft at the moment doesn't really do a good job of that, unfortunately. Have I ever used the dry cranking in my life? No. I've never had to use it. And if I had to, I would do it according to my checklist. Because we do have a checklist for that. So we would go engine ventilation, dry cranking. It says on ground after an unsuccessful manual engine start or an unsuccessful automatic start not followed by an automatic dry crank. The flight crew can perform a dry crank cycle, blah blah blah. Before dry crank, engine master affected engine check off, engine mode selected, check norm, engine manual start push button, switch affected engine check off. For the dry crank, engine mode selector crank, and then engine mode manual start push button switch affected engine on. To clear fuel vapors, a 30-second dry crank cycle is the minimum required. However, you've got to be careful with the maximum allowable starter cycles. So there's again some limitations that you have to be aware of.
Good evening, Aztec 027 with you.
So for the A320 CFMs, it should be 2 minutes. Let me just find the values. So initially, a 20-second pause is required between two successive cycles. And then you've got some aircraft that require a 15-minute cooling cycle after 3 failed cycles of the starter. Yeah, so again, with these limitations, you've got to be careful. Because these engines are expensive. If I remember correctly, a CFM costs you about $5 million US. Just the engine, 5 million. Hey, hang on, oh no, hold on.
Calling station for direct again.
Let me wait for the jingle to come up here.
Ryanair 76 Juliet, you may proceed direct to Goodwood, Kilo Uniform Delta.
There it is!
Autopilot. Autopilot.
Much appreciated.
Thank you very much, Kidman, again, for 10 euros. Thank you for your support, Kidman. I hope you're enjoying the flights here. I'm sure you are. And, well, we're not quite there yet at Mykonos. But when we do another wind up or weather update, let's see what it's like at the moment. And we have some good infos on our website.
Just after level 180, climb 6 control.
Just wondering, where did I put that? Documents. Right. There we have it. So, so Kitman, do you have that file available? It should be on the subscriber files in Discord. Yeah, Yurak, they do wear out. They start to wear out very quickly. Yeah, absolutely. Once again, Kitman, thank you so much. So let's go through the special for Mykonos. Amundos, oh hang on, Amundo Curious. Have a great flight. Have a good landing. You're under flying the CRJ 700. Nice. Okay, Kitman, let me see if I...
Grand 600, I distance level 180 or 280.
Ukraine International 67 Charlie, clear to descend flight level 180.
Yeah, so if you go to subscriber files, Kitman...
Flight level 180.
Subscriber files, it's right at the end. So we got the oil system, and then above that is the Mykonos airport familization. And you get that file. So the important thing to remember is that for the arrival, it has a short and narrow runway. So it's only 1,900 meters long and 30 meters wide. Backtrack is required. High terrain north and east of the airport. Gusty winds and turbulence, especially with northeasterly winds. Expect negative wind shears, which is always nasty. So you may want to do a bit of a higher approach speed, maybe 5 knots more. But again, be careful about the landing distance. So always expect turbulence even with wind speeds below 10 knots. There's no radar service for the airport, which is kind of nasty. So when it's busy, you may have to expect some delays. And instrument approaches are only available for runway 34. So you have VUR, an NDB, and an RNF approach. The other way, 16, you only have a circling approach. And so I gave an example of how you could do a circling there with certain altitude references, so that you can do a successful landing. If you get holding, expect it over... Hey, Haslegen. So, Haslegen, thank you much for the 9 months here on Twitch. Thank you so much for your support, Haslegen. I hope you're doing well. Thank you so much. And I'll give you a round of applause. Hang on. Let me just type that in here. Thank you so much once again. Yeah, most often we have runway 34. Expect shortcuts to Bismo, Varix, or Mykonos, descend 7,000. Yeah, that's right. It's a Twitch baby. Yeah, exactly.
Your control, Ryanair 314.
Thanks so much. So Varix is preferred in case of strong winds, since it causes turbulence below. Flight 140 south of the island, located northwest of Mykonos. So this island here, if the wind is strong from the north, and if you're flying right near that area, you have to expect turbulence below level 140. So it's more advisable to be more to the south here. So night operation is actually not allowed when the PAPI is inoperative. It shouldn't say operative, so inoperative. Hills on the right of final, and the VUR approach has a 3-degree offset from the runway track as well. Right, for landing, short and narrow runway in combination with steeply rising terrain prior to threshold gives the optical illusion of being too high. And again, that's really nasty. That is like... Oh God, Mark, thanks for the picture. Good God. Cheers. So, yeah, that's obviously an issue, isn't it? You've got a short runway, and you have an optical illusion of being too high, and that can cause hard landings. Really nasty. Expect wind shears on short final. And it's advisable to do the landing performance calculations with a bit of tailwind component. And has an upslope in both touchdown zones.
the A311, monitor Unicom 122 days simulate Bremen is closing.
Monitor Unicom 122.
So let's have a look.
Thank you for your control. Saudi 311 heavy.
Ukraine International 67 Charlie, flight level 180 expected over Govan.
So we've got that, and for the approach,
Ukraine System Charlie speaking.
Ukraine International 67 Charlie, descent flight level 180 over Govan.
so you can do the RF
Ukraine
approach,
System Charlie, descent flight level 180 over Govan.
or you can do the
Ryanair 314, you are identified. Continue
the VR Yankee approach.
flight level
I guess it would be a
340.
bit easier to the RF approach.
Direct Subics and 340 Ryanair 314, thanks, sir.
It would get you a bit more stable onto final path, because the VR approach. Now you can fly the VR approach obviously in final approach mode as well if it's correctly programmed in the FMS. So for example, it would have to have that fixed at 6 miles, which it does.
Tarom 312, expect flight level 110 over Tosvi, report ready for descent.
So it's got a 3-degree profile, but that only has 4 miles. Is that correct? Yeah, 4 miles. So from there, 4 miles until the missed approach point. That's correct. All right. Yeah, we'll stick with the VR approach. God, those clouds, beautiful today.
Eurocontrol.
Really nice. That looks really nice, doesn't it?
Tarom 312, Eurocontrol.
Yeah, could be photo, right? So, Atsu.
Here, are you calling Ryanair 314?
Ryanair 314 negative. I call another station.
Oh, okay, sorry, it just sounds similar.
Tarom 312, Eurocontrol.
Yeah, we are actually. We're outside of. We should be with. Oh no, it's Tirana control. Yeah, we're still in the right frequency. So we're still good on that. And remaining flight time, about 55 minutes.
Our control, good evening, Lufthansa 3 Mike Charlie, flight level 270, inbound PT.
Lufthansa 3 Mike Charlie, hello, Eurocontrol identified. Expect flight level 250 over Vesub, report ready for descent.
Repeat for Lufthansa 3 Mike Charlie, please.
Lufthansa 3 Mike Charlie, Eurocontrol identified. Expect flight level 250 over Vesub, report ready for descent.
Report ready for descent to flight level 250, Lufthansa 3 Mike Charlie.
Lufthansa 705 Papa, expect flight level 180 over Govan, report ready for descent.
Gorgeous. Right. So, what else?
Lufthansa 705 Papa, Eurocontrol.
Right, there's equal time points.
Go ahead, Lufthansa 705.
Lufthansa 705 Papa, expect flight level 180 over Govan, report ready for descent.
180 over Wagon. Lufthansa 705 Papa.
Lufthansa 3 Mike Charlie, you may maintain flight level 250.
So,
just to report when
Vardy.
flight level 250.
Actually, let's try Volby. Do we have a fuel checkpoint Volby?
I'm sorry,
Yeah, we do.
I climbed to
So, let me try that. 33 minutes after departure. And we departed at... let's see. So 42, correct?
Ryanair 76
Or 41.
level 240.
Yeah, 1641. So 1641, and we are supposed to be there at 14 then. So 1714 is when we were supposed to be at Volby, and we were there at 13. So just gained a minute there. And the fuel checked out at 4.4, and we supposed to have 3.5 bars plus 800. So again, 4.3, so it adds up nicely.
Onto the decimal 8, to Grand 6 Central, thanks for control.
So that's a good fuel and good time check. Hey, Turing Prime, how are you doing? Nice. Yeah, so I'm dual streaming, so you can either watch on YouTube or on Twitch, so everyone has their own choice, whatever they prefer. I am getting continuous questions
Lufthansa 705 Papa, descent flight level 180, level by govern.
about LPV.
Descent to 180, level by govern, Lufthansa 705 Papa.
So I don't know where people pick it up. I think it's because of the approach charts on some non-precision approaches.
705 Papa, for information we have at 9 o'clock Boeing 737 flight level 340, minimum separation will be 8 miles.
Nice. You're fighting cold starting the MD-82. So for me personally, I use the FS2 crew because that really helps. Otherwise, it's a bit of hit and miss trying to find all the switches on the overhead panel, especially. So let me see if I can find a chart which has an LPV minimum.
Ready for descent, flight level 250.
Lufthansa 3 Mike Charlie, descent flight
Oh, there we go.
250.
Found one. So it's split actually.
Descent flight level 250, Lufthansa 3 Mike Charlie.
Do you have some tips to improve graphics or the FPS? So Hannes, the only thing really that will help you with FPS in Microsoft Flight Sim is a good GPU. And then you have to try all the different settings with, you know, level of detail, general settings and so on. There isn't just a one simple fix on improving graphics and FPS. So, the reason why people are getting confused because they see an RMP approach, like this one, Zulu, and then they go and have a look at the minimum, and it says, the graphics card, sorry. The graphics card, that's the GPU. So, then they see LPV minimum, and they're like, oh, what's an LPV? Right, they were like expecting LNAV, VNAV minimum. So they're kind of a bit worried. So if you go to the Yankee approach, it gives you an LNAV minimum. But it's not LNAV, VNAV. Right. But let's get back to the RMP. So, LPV minimum, what does that mean? LPV has been established to enable GPS approaches with lower minimas. Now, you would ask yourself, well, how is that possible? Because we have GPS approaches for quite some time, so that LNAV, VNAV minimum approaches, you know, the normal RNP or RNF approaches, they use GPS as well. So what's the difference between, you know, LPV then? It uses GPS. Well, the thing is that LPV systems, they use either in the US the WAAS system, or in Europe it will be the EGNOS system, Echo Golf November Oscar Sierra system. And so if you look at the chart here, it actually tells you that. It gives you the EGNOS channel and the identifier. Now these systems, they have correction stations all around the US or Europe. So they have receivers on the ground that receive the GPS signals, and these receivers know their exact position. And so if there's any distortion regarding atmospheric issues or any other errors that may be present in the GPS transmitted position to the system, it can then send a correction signal. And so the aircraft then can use the updated, more accurate GPS position. And that makes it more accurate. And then there's a second technical gimmick, if you like, and that is that even though it is a GPS system or approach, it actually simulates a localizer and a glide slope beam. And that means if you have a traditional glide slope, oops.
Good night, Black Box.
Hey Voyager, mach's gut. Yeah, you too. Have a great weekend. Yeah, hope you stay cool. It's so hot at the moment, isn't it? Yeah, so you can see from there, it's an angular approach, meaning the closer you get to the runway, the more sensitive the indications on your prime flight display get. So a 2 dot deviation at about 5 miles gives you about 400 feet difference. While as you get closer to the runway, it gets more sensitive because of that angular setup, and 2 dots offset from the center will give you 150 feet deviation, while at 0.2 nautical miles, 2 dots means only 30 feet difference to the center line. Right. The same for the lateral path. So on the localizer, if you are 2 dots out at 5 miles, it's 1,600 feet. 1 dot would be around 800 feet. At 2 miles, it's 700 feet separation from the center line. And at 0.2 nautical miles, it's about 400 feet. So again, the lateral and vertical path get more and more sensitive, and hence more and more accurate. So any obstacles that may be near the beam can then be ignored. So you have your certain obstacle clearance height above that. But if you have a parallel or a linear approach procedure, so for example, a normal RMP approach, which doesn't get more sensitive as you get closer to the runway, you have to then consider more obstacles, potentially. So that means for the VNAV approaches, or approaches of VNAV minimums, since they are linear in its setup, they will have higher approach minimas. And you can see from the LPV approach, it simulates, it's not a physical beam anyway, it's still a GPS approach, but it simulates being more and more sensitive as you get closer to the runway. And that's why you have an LPV approach having lower minimas. And they can actually go down to the same minimas as ILS approaches, like 200 feet height at the missed approach point. However, even though they are pretty much the same accuracy as the standard traditional ILS approaches, they are still non-precision approaches. Right. That may change in the future, but right now, LPV approaches are still considered non-precision approaches. So here again you have the linear setup. So approach with LNAV VNAV guidance. Right, you have a corridor, 0.3 nautical miles. And again, any obstacle that would be located here that would not have to be considered if it's angular. Here with the linear setup, you have to consider these obstacles. And that's why, again, you may have a lot higher minimas on these approaches.
Copy that, thank you. Lufthansa 705.
Requesting clearance for descent.
So the the FLS is a similar principle, Danny, but there the anchor point can be located at different places, so you don't have to have that right at the runway, for example. And that's why it seems like that the future lies more in FLS compared to, you know, the GLS, for example. Remember, the GLS means that you have to have a correction station at the airport where you land to have these correction signals sent to the aircraft. HC471, thank you much.
Auto control, flying Bulgaria 408, requesting descent.
So the big question is, can you fly LPV here in the A320?
130 level by Nisba for flying Bulgaria 408.
So no, so you can't do it in the FENIX, you can't do it in FS Labs, and you can't do it in the TOLIS. You can't do that in the flight vector. What the TOLIS can do, though, is it can do an FLS approach. The same for the... Actually, maybe we're going to try that today. So here, in the FENIX, you actually have the option to select FLS approaches. So it's this bus and sim settings, AMI, and there you can actually select FLS. So let me try that then. Maybe you can... Yeah, exactly. So Sapphire Wave, absolutely. There are regions, obviously, where GPS signals can be jammed or are likely to be jammed, and there, obviously, having a traditional ILS approach is a lot safer. Yeah, so let me do that then. So flight plan, go to Mykonos arrival. So let's do the RMP approach. So ANAV 34, one hotel, and then we approach via, well, we don't, oh, actually, via Varix, insert. Let's try that. Let's have a look if that makes sense. Mark, sorry for the question, but from a pilot's point of view, this makes no difference to your actual cockpit actions. Well, I'm not sure the LPV. So remember the Challenger. I think the Challenger 650 can do LPV approaches. And there you press the approach button, yeah. You make sure that everything's set up and you have the right indications. And there you actually get in the channel you get the diamonds as well, and then it will show somewhere FLS. But yeah, the important difference is if you have an aircraft that is LPV approved, what you will notice is that instead of the ILS frequency, so when you select the ILS, you have the frequency there and the identifier later on. Right? Remember, we always check the identifier before we start the approach. You will have the same. With the VAS or EGNOS system, so you're going to have the channel or the identifier displayed, and that way you know the system has tuned the right channel and the right satellites. PS1 flyer. So since August 2022, Frankfurt has cut 2 GLS approaches. Okay. Now, I know there were some trials. However, my airline is not allowed to do Cat 2 minimas GLS approaches. But let me just check the charts. But yeah, I've heard about that too. Again, I didn't really go into that because we definitely were not allowed to do so. So let's have a look.
No, we have the
Oh,
latest
just allowed.
update for Sofia for flying Bulgaria 408. Thank you.
Bulgaria 408, monitor, can you command?
Brain compiler, yes I can. Hang on. And again,
123.8, thank you very much for your control. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye bye.
so for those that are interested in the hardware add-on for the Bravo throttle quadrant, I can give you a direct link to the shop.
Latest information about. Thank you very much.
Be aware there is a backlog in orders right now. You're going to have to be patient.
Unicom 128, thank you very much for the service.
They say about 3 weeks. 3 weeks of shipping time. So they have not only... They don't only have A320 hardware stuff, they also have that for 737 and 747. Okay. And Croatian 29 Delta, maybe switch to Unicom as well? Thank you much for the service. Have a good night, Croatian 29 Delta. Bye. There we go. Okay, so lovely, another lovely sunset. Good. So yeah, there we go. So he's right. So you do have Cat 2 GLS. Yeah, so that's actually an improvement again. So it gives you a radial altimeter, so decision height at 102 feet. That's pretty impressive. Yeah. But the downside to GLS, again, is you have to have these stations at the airport, which again requires maintenance. You know, there's going to be some extra cost, while the EGNOS system is there, right? So all the corrections and so on are already given, and the accuracy. Yeah, so the FLS approach is something also very interesting, which now was implemented, I think, in the A350 as a standard, and also in the A380. I think the A380 could also do FLS. The A320, we don't have that yet. Just find that file. I also made a file for that. There we go. So, the cool thing about the FLS is that so the TOLUS 321 has that actually simulated, and the FENIX as well. So it's an FMS landing system. FLS stands for FMS landing system. It's supposed to be there to improve non-precision approach safety by making it more like an ILS approach type when it comes to autopilot flight guidance. And so this has become possible since onboard navigation equipment using GPS updating have reached accuracy levels of a standard ILS approach. So since most non-precision approaches these days are built around a continuous descent final approach technique, all of these approaches share common characteristics. So one, the final descent is defined by a descent gradient with no intermediate level offs. And if the visual reference is either not acquired at the applicable minima or lost thereafter, a missed approach must be initiated. So that's same across the board. Now, the FLS approach guidance is available for all non-precision approach types except the RMP AR. Otherwise, you can use the FLS system. So whenever the pilot chooses a VOR DME, NDB, NDB DME, RNAV RMP, or localizer only approach, the FMS will compute a so-called FLS beam. So standard would be 50 feet threshold, an anchor point, and then a certain flight path angle. It can be variable, and a distance, and then a computed final approach fix. So the FLS beam defines a final approach leg of a non-precision approach, and is defined by an anchor point, a course, and a slope. And this means that the FLS lateral and vertical beam will give the same guidance as a normal ILS, localizer, and glide slope beam. The difference being, of course, that with the FLS approach, there is no physical beam coming from the landing runway. The FLS beams are calculated by the FMS. Then we got the procedure for it. We'll do that as well here in the FENIX. And the cool thing is, later on, you get some indications which are very similar to the ILS indications. However, the difference is, I don't know if you can see that here, it has a double diamond, and it says FLS in the corner there. I wouldn't say it's a better LPV because the principles are similar. I would say that the FLS approach has the advantage that here in the A320, it will give you the same kind of setup and the same kind of procedure as a normal ILS approach. So, you know, setting up everything, pressing the LS keys, pressing the approach button, etc., etc., etc. Yeah. So, so let's set everything up now for the FLS approach then. So we go there. We're going to check the inbound tracks. So let's go here. So we go Kia, and then we got that. Okay, so now that's a bit weird. Let's check that with the approach. So we should be Varix Vakva. So that's not correct then. Yeah, there we go. So it does that twice, which is wrong. So let's clear out that. Let's clear out that. Let's clear out that. Let's clear out that. And let's clear out that. Insert. Yeah, so let's have a look. So that's the approach here out of Varix. So we come to Varix at 7,000 feet. Let's put that at 7,000 in there, and max speed 250. Right, then we got Vakva, and then we go Mike Kilo 512. Yeah, 512. And there we have a restriction of 3,000 feet. Correct. Speed to 30. Correct. And then we go 510. 2,000 feet. Correct. To 10 knots maximum. That's also correct. And then we go inbound to 508, and that's the final approach point. Out of 2,000 mandatory. Now thereafter we have a 3-degree profile. That's important. Distance 5 dmi. Correct. So that's important. And the missed approach point is the runway 34. Here's the missed approach point. So that's already correctly programmed, so we should be able to use everything correctly. And then missed approach takes us Mike Kilo 590 overfly, 592, 594, 596, back to Mike Kilo November, and then yeah, to the view R, climbing 3,500 feet. And then we'll go track, it says 355, north again. Yeah, we'll start another approach then. Cool, so that's all correctly programmed. And let's enter the data. We don't have any more controlling there, so let's get an update here. So let's do that. So we've got, oops, arrival. So we've got 2120, that's correct. 360 at 16, 24 and 1009. Oops, 1009. So that was 24 degrees. Okay. The minimum for the FLS approach is, so even though we're flying at FLS, it's still an RNF approach, and we have to use that minimum, 1180, and the runway threshold's at 390. So that's literally almost 800 feet above the runway threshold, where we need to have visual contact. So Barrow 1180 it is. There we go. Yeah, definitely config full. And for the landing distance available, we have currently 63.8. So let's say we land at 63.5. Oh yeah, it's right now, I guess outside here it's about 24 degrees as well. Good. Drive runway, landing weight, let's do 63.5. We'll do auto brake medium, obviously. We'll use max reverse, auto thrust off, and we'll take runway 34. Right, so that's again, medium auto brake, max reverse, flat full. And it's a good thing we have a lot of headwind. So that's why we require 1500 meters and factored is 1700, and we have 1900 meters available. That would mean that we have only a buffer of about 160 meters, 170 meters. That equates to about 500 feet. So when you look at the touchdown zone markings, 500 feet is not a lot. I don't know if you have many visual references to determine at what point, if we flare for too long, where we want to do the missed approach. Oops. It's 32 at Toulouse. My God, yeah, it's so warm. It really is. So yeah, we can see that literally there's no visual cues when we land. So I would say when we see the touchdown zone, we're going to the flare, we'll give ourselves a maximum of 3 seconds. So if we don't touch down within 3 seconds, we go around. Alright, we've reached the top descent, so let's go down to 1. Oh, the moon. That's fantastic. The second time today. So, here's the moon coming again. What a view. Hey, Bone King. I probably will, yeah, Bone King. Yeah, because again, I'm surprised by the quality. Oops. I accidentally turned the... Oh. Crying out loud. Come on. I turned the trim wheel on my Bravo throttle quadrant, right? Autopilot 1. Yeah, so yeah, it's another supermoon. Yeah, I know, right? Deja vu. Yeah, so these levers. So one thing I really like about the 320 levers. So, you know, I had the previous ones. They were like, you know, so tiny. So look at the comparison there. So, yeah, again, I've shown the video a couple of times today. Gives a nice impression on the difference in size there. And Yeah, so the flap lever, those D10s, and the gimmick with the handle that you have to pull up, and then the D10s there. Noticeable, but not too tight. Yeah, the price, I think, for all of these levers, they are 79 euros. And then you have shipping as well. Yes, I do. Again, if you do consider ordering from them, be aware they have a bit of a backlog in order. So it takes about 3 weeks right now for shipping. The difference in these options, if you go, let's try to find the A320 setup. Yeah, okay. The display stand is where you can, if you look at the picture. Further down, it has like a base where you can put these hardware add-ons onto and have a little stand, so they don't lie around on your desktop. Now, I don't know if it's required to have that. I personally don't, and I don't think anybody really needs that. But hey, that's what's called display stand. Yeah, so if you want to actually, yeah, you're right. So if you want to have the levers that I have, they are the Airbus levers because they have that that disconnect button. Yeah. Yeah. So Lee, one thing I was missing here with the Airbus flying was the D10s, and so now. It's really comfortable, so you can go and you know, with the larger thrust levers, so the handles, and then just you can really feel the clicking, and it really clicks into the position there, but it's not overdone. It's not like really hard to get them out of the notch again, but so it's really, and you know, you just cannot misclick. So it's really. Yeah, really nice. That's something I was missing with the standard Bravo throttle quadrant. Also, like I said, the flap handle. That's also kind of a nice thing that you have to get into the next gate. You have to lift up that flap below the flap lever there. And that's something I've not seen anywhere else. With any other hardware add-on. Hey, Christopher, was that you then? I mean, there was 2 people that suggested different manufacturers, and I went with the Flight Sim Factory. Scary Moon, yeah. Yeah, because there was some. I don't know who it was. If it was you that was saying that it's just better quality, and the other one was using. So the other, exactly, I remember now. The other manufacturer, they actually use magnets on the side here. So not physical D10s. They were using magnets on the side, and apparently the magnets it felt too sticky or something. So here with the notches, the physical notches, it really feels like the real aircraft. Okay, Christopher, that was you then. Yeah, so thanks for the recommendation, yeah. It's actually really cool, yeah. Right, guys, even though I do love the moon, forgive me, I am going to put this to daylight because flying nighttime only is like a bit boring. So I want to see the lovely scenery here. Yeah, Lee, and what I can say is that, so Christopher recommended them to me, and then I actually ordered them. I didn't read through the whole description. I ordered them, and then I realized that they were 3D printed, and for some reason I had a I don't know, a memory of something being 3D printed, and I thought, ooh, normally those things are not really sturdy. They are like really plasticky. But again, they when they arrived, you have to, if you want to use the disconnect button on the side here, on the thrust levers, you have to take them from the standard A320 honeycomb Bravo throttle quadrant add-on, and it's not that difficult. They have a YouTube video on that, how to take out the connection, so the little chip inside. And again, it's not, I'm not, you know, the most talented craftsman, so for me it was fairly simple to do that. And then here's the cool thing. So let me just show you again here. If you can take the side off, it's a magnet that holds that into place, so it takes a bit of force to take these out. But again, everything's so 100% fitting, it doesn't wobble about, it's really steady. Yeah, so I was actually surprised at how good the quality is. Yeah, so Boeing King, I've never tried the Boeing levers, but I would assume it's, you know, the same quality. But again, I have not tried them. I've only tried the Airbus throttle quadrants. Yeah, and if you are worried about the side add-ons, so the strips here for the notches, they just simply, like anything else here, they have a cushion on the side, and they're very, very simple to detach again. So you don't stick them onto the sides; they are just pushed in, and they're easy to dismantle again as well. Take out for, if let's say you're flying a 737 suddenly, yeah, there's no big deal to adjust that. Right, thrust idle descent out blue. Seatbelts on. Let's prepare for the approach. Hey, I'm Pinsel. Yeah, I'm dual streaming, so I'm still on YouTube. There's people that prefer YouTube, and then I've got so many messages saying, hey, you know, is there any chance you go back and maybe dual stream so that I can watch on Twitch as well? So, and since Twitch doesn't care with so many things, I'll just, yeah, dual stream now. Simple as that. Alrighty, so done the preparations, orbit medium, and it's an RNF approach. We don't necessarily mean to set anything, but for the missed approach, let me set Mykonos. So Mike, Kilo, November in there. What? Mike, Kilo, November. There we go, 110.0. Good, so what can we say about the approach? So we're flying the approach RMP 34 via VARIX transition. We're flying an FLS approach, so that's why you have FAP here already. And if you then select the LS key, you see what I mean? You get these double diamonds. It says FLS and a double diamonds. It looks a lot like a normal ILS approach, doesn't it? Here you got the runway 34, 3-degree profile, distance to the runway as well. So everything you need. The sector altitude is 3,700 to the west, 3,500 north, and east 5,000. Now the island has a mountain to the north of the runway at 1265 feet. We talked about all the interesting stuff regarding short and narrow runway, optical illusions, updrafts, downdrafts, negative wind shear, etc., etc., etc. So no surprises there. Obviously, a risk would be... Actually, no, let's leave that for later. Approach minimum is 1180, and the go-around has already briefed up to 3,500 feet. And the extra fuel, we should have fuel for one more approach if the first one goes wrong. And it can go wrong very quickly. So we have about a ton extra fuel, so that's enough fuel for the approach. Let's hope we don't mess it up too badly. Yeah, we'll use the FLS guidance. Again, it's approach mode. And stop margin is only 150 meters. Max reverse, automatic medium. And we do backtrack to exit onto the ramp. Specials, well, narrow runway ops, obstacle illusion, we talked about it. And threats, yeah, terrain on the island. Yeah, no radar actually, so again, that would be definitely a little bit of a threat. Wow, look at that. What island is that? That looks familiar, doesn't it? Is that a military field or something? Because for a minute I thought like it looks like Skiathos, but that's not Skiathos. That's something else. Hang on, but that's not Mykonos, is it? No, it's not Mykonos. It looks very similar to Mykonos. That got me confused. No, Mykonos is over there, isn't it? Syros. Okay, Syros. Interesting that it has pretty much the same setup as Mykonos. Bone King, yeah, but that's not too bad for me though. Out star, let's continue our descent. Let's go down to 5. Transition altitude is 60. Actually 70 for the approach. Let's put that in here. And latest QNH was 1009. Good. Let's pretend we cleared for the approach. That would mean I'm going to enter 2,000 feet. And we're going to fly that managed. So it's going to have all the correct speed restrictions and altitude restrictions. So right now, it has magenta 70. And here's the restriction: 250 knots at Varix 7000 and or 70. Double beeping, you mean the we call it the or the knocking sound? Tock tock tock. That's normally a mode reversion. It wasn't a beeping, wasn't it? It was like a woodpecker sound. Hey, good evening. Aviator, how are you doing? Triple click, yeah. So, QNH 1009. Set QNH. QNH is cross-checked. Passing 6,700 feet now. Checked. So again, the indications you get with the FLS approach is a magenta line, dotted line, that shows you the programmed FLS lateral path. We get FLS indicated on the private flight display. We get the runway infos with the downslope of the approach, and it has F approach in white. as an armed mode there. Yeah, so whenever you have a certain reversion in modes, it does the triple click. So most prominent would be in the approach itself. So let's say you have Cat 3 dual. You have both autopilots selected on Alice approach, and it goes to Cat 2. Right? That's a downward revision in accuracy from Cat 3 dual to Cat 2, and you get that triple click. And that warns the pilots that something has downgraded. Or a vertical mode changes. So let's say you are in descent, and if I go to heading mode now, we're going to get open descent, and again it's a mode reversion. Well, actually vertical speed. Hear that triple click again? That tells us that something has changed in one of the modes, and we need to check the FMA to see what has happened. No, I'm not. I'm flying to Bilbao, which is interesting. So I'm looking forward to that. That's a beautiful flight. Really looking forward to that. Ah, there's Mykonos. There's the airport. Good. All right. So since we have set the QNH, let me do the approach checklist. Approach checklist. Barbaro ref. QNH 1009, seatbelts on, minimum, MDA or Barbaro 1180, auto brake medium, and engine mode selector is normal. That's the approach checklist completed. I'm going to activate the approach phase now to slow down. Mykonos traffic, creation 29 Delta is base for the RMP 34 in Mykonos. Flaps 1. Speed is checked. Flaps 1. And here again, the notches, it's just nice. There's no guessing again. You know, do I have the right flap setting? You have a physical feedback with that lever now, which is great. So we're base 2,210 knots. But we are already in the approach phase now, so 5 miles to there, that should be good. Already having a centered FLS glide slope indication there. Beautiful. Yes. Oh no, actually my hardware setup is below the streaming window. Or at least it was on YouTube. Hold on, let me see if I can call that up. I think I had one at some point. Yeah, it's on YouTube, yeah. Got it. Oh, there we go. Specs, thank you much, Lee. There we go. There's the specs, yeah. Yeah, and that's correct. Right, we're turning final. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to actually press the approach button there. So we've got now, out blue, F glide slope, and here we got F lock. And you can see from these indications, it says lock, but it's giving you F lock, telling the pilot is not a normal IS localizer. It's the FLS localizer indication. But it does look very similar to the normal ILS indications, doesn't it? Hey, buddy. Yes, you are. How are you doing? Flaps 2. Speed is checked. Flaps 2. And here we go. F glide slope star. So it's capturing the glide slope. And one thing I'm going to do as well, just to make sure that I have a distance. Actually, we have it here, 7.5. So that should actually be exactly the same. Yeah, 7.3, exactly that. Cool. Mykonos traffic, creation 29 deltas on the final runway 34 in Mykonos. I'm just going to go selected speed, a bit high still, 2,000 feet above the ground. Buddy, yeah, so I got the info from Christopher Levine here regarding the physical add-ons, and yeah, I was a bit skeptical at first, but I have to say that these are one of the hardware things that I bought for the Honeycomb that I've really loved right from the start. So here comes gear down, speed is managed. Right, here's the runway, and look at that. We got 1 white, 3 reds. So the FLS is working nicely. Flaps 3, speed is checked. Flaps 3. The only thing that's missing is the arming of the spoilers here. So we can't physically, but that's the Honeycomb problem. Because otherwise I think he probably would have found a way to do that. Right, missed approach is set. Flaps full, speed is checked. Flaps full, landing checklist. EKM landing no blue. Landing checklist completed. Wind 22 knots from the front. So I'm just gonna go with the approach here. And again, it's nice, isn't it? Yeah, exactly, Bone King. So you know, people were asking me, hey, you're gonna get the other add-on stuff, hardware, you know, and we're talking thousands of euros. So manual thrust, manual flight.
100 above.
Yeah, runway is inside. So expecting it to continue, getting it a bit bumpy then. Okay, so this indication right now is still informative to follow. However, at this point we are visually
1,000.
continuing. So our main view is now the Parpies. And so you can see the FLS is indicating a bit high in the profile, but I'm not going to follow the FLS right now. It's done its job very nicely up to this point. The issue is that sometimes that a bit of downdraft here. That FLS anchor point may be situated a bit wrong, and again it becomes more sensitive as you get closer. Ooh, just a bit higher than approach.
400.
Careful with the sync rate.
300. 100. 40. 30. 20. Retard.
1, 22, 23. Come on. Let's get back to center line here. We've got spoilers, reverse green, decel. Yeah, not too shabby with the touchdown. It says 230 on it. Buddy, I hope you're doing good, buddy. Right, so 30 meters wide means we have to turn at the end. We can't turn on the runway here. So we can go turn both sides. I'll take the left side here.
Mykonos traffic, asterisk 255 is 5 knots final. Mykonos traffic.
Okay, Mykonos traffic, Croatian 29 Delta is at the end of runway 34. We'll expedite with the backtrack and then vacate. I'll call when clear. Oh, there he is. Ah, easy. Yeah, all good. Don't panic. You're a guest, of course. So The spoilers, you should not retract the spoilers until you're at taxi speed. But once you are at taxi speed, yeah, you can clean up the aircraft. Runway is vacated at Mykonos, Croatian 29 Delta. Right, we can actually have a look at the landing. So let me just stop here. Brakes on. Alright, I think it's a Challenger from Moritz, isn't it? Yannick's, I'll get to that in a second. Hang on. Let me just watch the... Oh, it looks like 2 aircraft coming in. Ooh, nice. Let's see who that is. Okay, that's a Challenger, yeah. GG's, nice one. Now, the Challenger can surely either stop quickly enough so he can vacate the second exit to the left, or he can actually backtrack on a 30-meter right runway. That should not be a problem. Yeah, so you always press twice quickly. So either autopilot or auto thrust. Oh, come on, you need to vacate. Move. Oh no, what happened? Oh no. Oh, there we go. Ooh. Scary. Yeah, quite interesting to see here as well is the backdrop, right? So both sides, you have this elevation of the runway there. Yeah, cool. So the FLS works nicely until, I would say, the minimum, so maybe even 200 feet. It would work quite nicely, but yeah, I'll be careful to use the FLS system, you know, indications below 200 feet. I just don't know how accurate or, you know, the location of the anchor point. So give an example. So if the anchor point isn't actually here at 50 feet, but it's inaccurately placed like here, then of course, the closer you get, the more offset you would have from the localize or the glide slope, and that could get into trouble. So use the FLS until the minimum, and from there on it's visual anyways. Use the PARPs. Yeah, so I use the base for the joystick is the Warthog. Thrustmaster Warthog base. Or the company for the... It has an Airbus joystick. Help me out, guys. Who made that one? It's... Yeah, so for the thrust levers, it's a Honeycomb Bravo, and I have an add-on from FlightSim Factory. It's a private company. Exactly, so FS Projects, yeah. So FS Projects is the stick add-on you put on top of the Warthog base. And then for the honeycomb, it's the FS a flight sim factory hardware add-on. Yeah, all good, Michael, all good. Right, let's have a look here at this landing. Nice, GG. So he's probably on the different add-on. Yeah, but that was a good landing. Yeah, again, make sure that you vacate at the end or turn. You can't. Well, you shouldn't. You shouldn't do any backtrack here on the runway itself. I mean, turn. It's just not wide enough. Oh no, he's tried. Now I saw that. I saw that. Yeah. You only had a couple more meters to go. I don't know what made him turn around there. Another scenery. Yeah, could be. Yannick's, no, I don't think so. I think Madeira has a 45-meter runway. Let me just check that. Yeah, so it's 45 meters wide at Madeira. So, yeah, the thing is this, so you need, for a 180-degree turn with an A320, you need 24 meters of width without margin, right? So physically, you could theoretically turn an aircraft on a 30-meter runway, so A320. Theoretically, yes. However, what that requires you to do is actually get physically with the cockpit over the edges. And this is where things become a bit problematic. So, because of the fact that your landing gear is behind the cockpit, right? You have to physically, on the flight deck, so your seating position, you would look like this. Right? Let's say you go this side so that you can see the edges. So you have to go over the edge, right? And this is where it becomes really difficult to judge. And there's been some incidences where people just go off the tarmac. Yeah, or just reverse, yeah. So that's why quite often on these airports, you would be reading somewhere in the infos that you're not allowed to do a 180-degree turn on that runway. Do we get stairs? I mean, we can have a look in the AOI here, see if that's the case. So let's have a look. Tow bar, yeah. So you would normally go and look at the infos, and then, you know, most likely somewhere I don't see the note right here, but I'm sure. Other info. Hold on. There. Yeah. So landing aircraft should backtrack at runway ends. Right, because if runway ends, it has, yeah, thanks, York, yeah. It has 40 meters with the turn bay. All right, so should backtrack at runway ends. Now, should, so shall would be a bit clearer. Should, it's kind of sad that it didn't really, write like, category Charlie or with a certain wheelbase distance, etc., they should be using the runway ends to backtrack. Yeah, so again, personally, I would definitely have my issues with having to turn on a 30-meter wide runway. Alrighty, guys, we have come to the end of today's stream. Next stream is on Monday. So, Monday 15th at 1700 UTC.
Good night, Black Box.
Yeah, too much paperwork, absolutely. Yeah, thank you so much for the support, guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out. Stay cool, everyone. It's going to continue to be hot until Monday, I think. Yeah, Monday, probably. There's some airports we need to go to still. I think we're going to go to Beirut on Monday. Thank you, Yurek. And Ajox, thank you much for 8 months Twitch Prime. Thank you for using your Twitch Prime on my channel. That means a lot to me. Thank you so much, Ajox. 8 months here. Amsterdam? No. No, not Frankfurt either. Yeah, we're gonna visit Beirut because I've been to Beirut in real life not too long ago. I actually have a video on that as well. Let me just see. So I can show you guys the video next time. Do I have it yet? Hold on. I'm pretty sure I had it already rendered. Yeah, but I will find it. So next time, no, I'm not going to show it now. No, I'll show it. I'll show it on the next stream then. Cool, my dear moderators, thank you so much for hanging out so long, guys. Now is a good time to quickly go outside if you have a good view of the night sky. Have a look. Maybe you can see some shooting stars. I will have a look out now. But I have to put on some anti-mosquito lotion or something. Or the moon. Yeah, the moon is also nice. Yeah, full moon. Cool, guys. Thank you so much. Oh, buddy.
Welcome aboard
What
the
a
Captain
timing.
Blackbox Twitch channel subscriber experience. Could new subscribers please make your way to the first class cabin, where complimentary drinks, snacks, and premium flight entertainment are
Yoda.
served. Thank you.
I think Mark just fell off his chair now. Is it really that bright? Is it so high already? Okay, I'll need to check. Thank you much, buddy. That's sehr lieb. Dankeschön, buddy. Thanks for the support. I hope you're doing well, buddy. Yeah, we need to chat soon again. Take care, everyone. I'll see you again soon, guys. Good night.